Good morning, all. This one is going to be covering Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. Okay, so I just want to cover, where we are in terms of the larger scale picture. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by showing the much bigger picture. Okay, so I'm going to go back to what I was calling back last year, and this being the weekly 3, the weekly 4, weekly 5, right? Giving us the monthly 3. Okay, and this is more for guys that don't follow me, or haven't followed or haven't seen any of my other streams. Then in essence, this is where we are right now. Okay, now bigger picture, I'm seeing this is now a monthly 3, which means I'm looking for an ABC. Okay, now first option, and a lot of people have mentioned this being a potential expanded flat down, giving us an A, right? That for me is moved too far, and it's too small of a move in terms of just being kind of encircled in here for that to look really like an A. Okay, I didn't like the Fibonacci extensions up here, right? And there was also from the move up, if we assumed a 1, a 2, a 3, right, a 4, and a 5, right, that's quite valuable in there. However, the extensions didn't quite fit for the 5. And the other thing was, inside the move that we were seeing, we would have liked to have seen a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. And that fib worked, more or less to the dollar. So for me, I'm going to go with this one personally. It's not to say that I'm right. It's just something that I'd rather. And what I'm going to do then is come down from this move with the suggestion that we're currently seeing a 5 move in here. Right, we're going to see something like this. I like the look of, right? And although this one's higher, this one here is potentially a running flat finish, right? Which could create some kind of double bottom and then ultimately move back up for the B, right? So in the much bigger picture, I'm seeing something that looks a little bit like this. Then we get a B, probably back to these kinds of levels. And then a C. Now, it doesn't have to be deep. It just needs to come down for liquidity. So I'd like to say anywhere between probably under 28.8, right, and possibly down to the 23 level. Now, a lot of people say, bottom's in. This is going to 100K. Crack on. If you want to buy this now, be my guest. I think, for me, I'm seeing this as a slow, drawn out process. This is designed to screw with retail. This is to accumulate much bigger picture, and therefore, even in the best case scenario, we're likely to see, this being the seller's climax. We've got an AR move here. I'm likely to see another move down being the first test. Then we're likely to come back up to create, the first sign of strength. Then we probably come back down in towards the spring, and then we're going to go, right? So one way or the other, it's just a question of how deep this goes, right? And I'm not too concerned about that. It's just a question of time, patience, rather than just jumping in on every single little swing up. So this is what I'm seeing for Bitcoin, right? And what I'll do now is I'm going to jump across to the other software that I use, which is this Advanced Get software. And I'm going to use the Advanced Get software to just show where I think we are in terms of the current Bitcoin play, right? So on the, I've got Aussie dollar open there. So on the Bitcoin move, I want Bitcoin USD. What I'm seeing with this, right, is pretty much the same as what I've just covered, right? And I think I like this because it's actually agreeing with what I'm seeing, without seeing this. I think I like the idea, and for a couple of reasons, right? It's probably a bit easier to see on this particular move. Low down 3, pull back 4, right? And then from here, we're likely to see another A, a B, and a C, right? Even in the worst case of a scenario, right? That would give us then the double bottom. I do like the fact that this is going to start moving up now in terms of the oscillator. So I would like to see something that looks like this, right? But for me, that's only going to give us potential for the B, to come on back up, right? So I don't think A is going to be too deep. It might come under liquidity, it might not. It might just create a double bottom, and then I think, back up. So I'd like to see smaller time frame, a push down, weekly time frame, a push down, and larger time frame. I'd like to say that the A is actually in, right? And that's where I think we go, this being then the 5, right? If it goes down and it goes through this kind of impulsively, then I think it's a slightly different problem that we'll be facing, right, in the grand scheme of things. On the monthly time frame, this kind of, I guess, reaffirms what I've just covered. The suggestions of these moves in, right, when you have the blue circles, that suggests that the software is saying that we're already in, right? It's moves completed. When we have a move like this, change the color. When we have a move like this, and we've come on down to the 4, this suggests that the 4 is not completed yet, right? Now we've got a larger scale oscillator moving on down, right? So it kind of confirms that even with a move down and back up, I still like to see another move back down, right, to kind of collect this liquidity in and around this level, right? And it's only going to go down, potentially as low as the previous one. When I say that, I mean there's actually liquidity down around this previous 4, okay? So that's kind of the pocket. Now that could be, that could be quite deep, as long as it doesn't invalidate the 1, right, over something around this level, which was, I think, 1920k, right? I think it's 19.8 or something like that it is. As long as you don't invalidate that level, we kind of all good. And then I think we will get, another move up, because you will be looking for that being the monthly 5. Okay, so grand scheme of things, I think monthly 5 move from there up, and we can forecast that once we got a bit of a clue as to where the bottom, is actually going to be. But I think for now, I'm not too excited for a move up. Not really that bothered about a move down, but I think for me, it's going to be liquidity, local liquidity, followed by larger liquidity. And then I think, that's my move up. That's what I'm looking for, big picture. When I'm in advanced scale, if I just go across to XRP, I'll do Ethereum as well. So the difference with XRP is we have, their all-times high is way back, right? So it's kind of a different chart from most of the other crypto assets in general. So I think the fact that we've got this move up and coming down, I'd like to say, grand scheme of things, this is more of just a mighty accumulation structure, right? And I think this now is, based on the news with the SEC, based on the current situation, I think, not knowing where we are big picture, and the fact that Bitcoin is still making its moves. I think for me, coming from the venture capital space and seeing how investors, not traders, but investors from the VC, from the private equity, from family offices and so on, how these guys actually operate is they're using Bitcoin pretty much as an indicator. If Bitcoin is up, then these guys will be happy to release more money into blockchain-based investments. If Bitcoin is down, there's still a little bit of uncertainty in their mind because they don't understand it, right? So in the grand scheme of things, seeing this as a massive accumulation is what I'm seeing for XRP. I think, like I said, the big players will know this. XRP/Ripple have hundreds of institutional clients, and if the SEC kind of clears it or at least is settled in some way, I think we've got plenty of room to move on up. Are we at the bottom yet? I'm not quite sure. Okay, so I think that's what I'm seeing in terms of the current XRP situation. I'm going to hold off this a little bit longer. I think I'm looking for just clarity in the bigger move. And then I think I can use that probably once the A for Bitcoin is in and we see confirmation of the B. I think from the same C position, when we get that for Bitcoin, is probably likely to see that spring from an XRP. Now, it could be just a little bit in front. So I think once we've got the B, I'm going to be quite cautious in terms of how we take a long entry on XRP, big picture. But I think for me, XRP is the preferred, probably even over Bitcoin, if I'm honest. ETH. So I've started off ETH on the daily. On the daily, I'm seeing something pretty similar to Bitcoin. The only difference being is that I've mentioned this to our Discord subscribers, and it's always hard in terms of giving some of the free information away to compared to what we give to the subscribers. So I've kind of tried to date some of what we've done with the subs and then give it out, a day, a week, even later out in terms of YouTube and the other channels. And I think as we start to navigate the bigger picture for Bitcoin in this uncertain time and coming down to finish its monthly fall, myself and Paul are going to put a little bit more emphasis on the kind of internal streams rather than the external streams, and then kind of release them, like I said, just a couple of days later in general. So I've done this already with our subs and covered the fact that I thought Ethereum was a little bit ahead of the curve in terms of the move down compared to Bitcoin. So it's kind of a good little indication of what I think we're likely to do. So I think for me, I'd like to see this move being the A and then the B followed by a C, right? Looking at this, we probably got some kind of fib extension on that, being a flat move there, flat corrective move. So yeah, it tagged down. We probably had a nice little wick under there. So that to me still classed as a 1618. We've now got the move back up, so we've probably seen an A, a B, and a C. We do the same in the opposite direction. Fib extension. So I'm going to go high to the left, 2 to the right. There, yeah. It didn't quite make the 1618. That's good enough for me. We've created some kind of tweezer tops there for a move back down. So I'd like to say that that's, first move a B, followed by the C. I think, yeah, it's not going to be too deep in terms of the move down. So pretty much the same as Bitcoin. I don't think we're going to go too deep. Probably somewhere around these levels, right? Which will create another bottom, liquidity sitting in and around this region. And therefore, yeah, I'd like to see the price action when we get into that zone, basically back up then for the B, because at that point we would have finished the 5-wave move down, and that would kind of give us the move overall for the weekly A inside that monthly move that I'm actually looking for. Okay, so yeah, I think for me, 4, 5 complete, and then ultimately back down. This will give us the weekly move. Then we'll get a corrective move back down for the C. So I just think all we're seeing right now is Ethereum is actually just a little bit in front of the current situation that we're seeing in Bitcoin. So I'll just come back to the regular charts. And what I'll do now on that is I'll just look, let me just go across to Ethereum. It might be a bit cleaner on the chart. So on the Ethereum move, I think I'm seeing, exactly what I've just covered. Right, they could be the 1, it could be the 2, 3. This could easily be the 4. Down for a 5, some kind of double bottom, right, in and around the liquidity grab. And then I'd like to see then the proper B move here, followed by the C move, which probably go underneath whatever that one's going to be. There's going to be liquidity in and around there, so keep that in mind, which will take us back down to these kinds of levels. That giving us the C. And then much bigger picture, obviously another move back up, taking us to the monthly 5. Because this would actually be the monthly, let me put this in there, this would actually be the monthly form. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing, without too much depth. That's what I'm seeing right now. That's what I'm feeling. Ethereum, XRP, and Bitcoin. Yeah, I think that's it. So I'm going to leave that for now. Enjoy the weekend, guys, and we'll see you in the next stream.